Oops.
Can they hear us?
Can you hear me? Check, check, check.
Join. There we are. We're rolling.
I don't see
rolling.
us.
Well, you got to hit a join button.
We're there.
Just pretend like you're watching us because you're really here, so we're doing it. You know that.
Well, I can see people. Hey, David Lomax is
Here
watching.
we go. Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at Lift Run Long. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our private Facebook group, you should be, because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. The Lift Heavy Run Long podcast is censored, so language should not be a problem. Vaughn is taking an Instagram shot, which is very important because I get a kick out of all social media outlets. Lift Heavy Run Long has an app, and we want you on it. For $3.99, you can be subscribed to the Lift Heavy Run Long Daily, which is programmed by our friend Valerie Hunt, who is one of the most well-known running coaches and experts in the field of running and endurance. And she programs 4 barbell strength exercises, 4 WODs, and 3 bodyweight exercises a week. For $9.99, you can have access to all of the Lift Heavy Run Long strength and conditioning programs that we have to offer. And Valerie also programs those as well. And Vaughn programs a few of them. It's a great deal. The goal of Lift Heavy Run Long and the app is to bring fitness to as many people as possible, as inexpensively as possible. So $3.99 is certainly affordable to most people, but if you know someone who does not have that kind of money to spare and is in a bad place and fitness would help improve their lives, then please email me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com, and they are welcome to use the app free of charge.
Sorry.
That's a demerit.
I'm
You're
sorry.
gonna
I
get
can't hold it in.
edited.
You're going to get edited.
Facebook got to hear it, though.
I
You're
have
welcome.
sitting to my right the most fabulous woman in the world, who is also the most attractive woman in the world. And I love sitting next to her every week. Amanda Kimsey Horrell Jackton Tan, who is also a doctor. I kind of screwed that up. Dr. Amanda Horrell Kimsey. Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell, also known as Jackton Tan. She's my wife.
Yeah. Have you met before?
You're going to be my wife.
So you two know each other.
Hey guys, I've met my wife live.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
I can tell what's the difference in my sleep. If I get enough sleep, I feel way more fantastic.
It makes me happy when you get sleep. I think it's my codependence. But you were sleeping last night, and I was very happy. You know, I watch you when you sleep.
Oh,
And
That's
it's
not
pretty,
creepy.
It's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
I stand
weird.
over her with my CPAP mask. Hey, did I tell you how much I appreciate you getting so angry a little while ago before the podcast
me being angry?
at Amazon?
I wasn't angry.
You were a
I
little
was
bit
frustrated,
frustrated.
but I wasn't angry because I knew they'd fix it.
Whatever you were, I appreciate that, because you were frustrated about Andy's birthday present, and that means a lot to you. And I
Yeah.
think that it's nice. You could just be like, well, screw it. She's just not going to get that birthday present.
Nope.
But instead you handled it.
Yep.
So kudos to you.
Amazon's awesome, though. They fixed it. No problem.
You're
no sweat.
awesome. You fix most things, no problem. And I
Thanks.
make problems, so that's convenient, because all the time that I spend making problems, you're there to fix them.
Oh,
Isn't that great?
hey.
And next to Dr. Horrell, we have Mr. J.B. Meyer. How are you, sir?
Good, sir. Good, good.
We've got an outstanding interview coming up with him. He's a Green Beret, deputy sheriff, Ironman has qualified for the national championships in triathlon,
Right. Olympic distance.
Olympic distance. So we got a lot of ground to cover.
All right.
And next to,
His daughter says hi and that she's proud of him.
I bet
And
she
she
is.
loves you.
Oh, look at that.
Hi, Jada.
I bet she is.
Her name is Jada.
And we've already, you being Green Beret, everybody's going to be on their best behavior. You won't have any problems.
You don't need to choke anybody out.
But we were curious, like, would you have a problem just roundhousing Vaughn in the head right now? Would
As a
that
demonstration for the Facebook Live.
Would that be a one-stop drop?
They're known as the quiet professionals. That's what Green Berets are. So.
Well, you're obviously quiet about it because I didn't know until, this week. And if I was a Green Beret, you would know about it. Everybody would know about it, probably because I would wear my Green Beret everywhere.
It would be in your social media profile.
That's right.
Green Beret, all
It would
caps.
just be a Green Beret.
Even my wife and kids, they were like, "Oh yeah, my dad. That's what he did."
That's wild.
It's not a big deal.
That is such a big deal. It's so awesome. And speaking of big deals, we have the Reverend
A little deal.
on rolls.
A little deal.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
How's your skateboarding this morning?
That was fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it.
So is that a Thursday thing, or are you just into it when you're into it?
It has been Thursday for the last couple of weeks. I got a couple of guys that from work who've been skating for a while, and then I just kind of jumped in with them. And so it just happened a couple of weeks ago on Thursday, and then this week on Thursday they decided to go again. So I went along. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
And there's nothing cooler than skateboarding. And I think that there's very few things cooler than how old are you, 43?
I'm 43, yeah.
A 43-year-old man that can do an ollie kickflip.
Yeah.
And you did that on your 43rd birthday.
I did. I can do that. I did it. I can do it, yeah.
And I think you underestimated how awesome that is. I didn't.
Maybe a little bit, but you got to, you should have been there with me this morning. When you're trying to, fly off a bank, it's not as easy as it was when you were 20.
Do you catch air? Do you get off the lip and come back down?
I can ollie up. I can ollie I can get up in the air.
Yeah.
And land on the board.
That's always a plus.
Yeah.
I could do most of those things. The landing on the board, or at least staying on the board after the land, was a hard part.
Yeah.
I stuck a lot, and then, you stick, boom, and then, phoo, out it goes from underneath you.
I was pretty good when I was a kid. Pretty good, really good. But now it's CrossFit says regularly practice and learn new sports. And man, talk about exposing weaknesses. It's I can stand on a skateboard and go into the bowl and roll around. I'm like, oh God, what's going on? Or try to jump over something and oh God, my legs don't. My buddy does this thing where he reaches down, grabs the board, steps off of it, jumps up in the air. And I was trying that this morning. I was like, I can't even, my hips don't even want to.
Can't even bend down and touch the board.
Right. I've got some serious issues I need to work on for sure.
How old is he?
43.
And he can do it?
Yeah.
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 So do you consider skateboarding a workout?
Oh, absolutely. So, we went to the park Sunday for 3.5 hours, and I literally felt like I ran a marathon.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a workout for sure.
Wilson and I were talking in the gym the other day. It's pretty awesome that you're doing that. Just getting out of your comfort zone, getting back into some other sport or whatever, and trying other things. It's just you just don't see a lot of 43. I mean, you've got your buddies that have probably been doing it for a while and have just stayed good at it or whatever. But here you are at 43, picking it back up and trying to relearn it. And
yeah, it's crazy, and it's a little embarrassing too, and I don't really know why. It's hard for me to get my board and go out into my street in my neighborhood because I'm afraid the neighbors are gonna be like, "What is that idiot doing?" But
that's the introvert in you.
At the same, yeah, right. But at the same time, I could be like, "Well, why don't you come step on the board and see how far you can roll down the street?" You know what I mean? So there's that. But I really love it, man. I'm totally bit by the bug again. It was really bad. I spent probably more than 15 years of my life, like sleeping with my skateboard and watching videos and whatever.
And not going to school.
Yeah, right. And then now it's like I should be able to do this stuff. Like today they were hopping down the stairs and I was like, I'm too scared to even try that, you know. Like, and it's only 3 stairs. Like,
Well,
Like
I figure
stair, or like jumping all the way.
like a set of stairs, you would 1, 2, 3 walk down, but
Right.
jump all the way down.
Yeah,
the
okay,
stairs.
that's what I was. Yeah, so it's
Right.
one jump, not 3
Right,
jumps. So
right,
that's-
right, right,
Yeah, okay.
right.
I want to believe that I can count on my fingers and my toes the number of times that I'm going to fall down the rest of my life. So I don't think I want to get on a skateboard because I don't want to fall off of it.
Well, it's weird because like
If you only have a certain number of falls left, you don't want to waste them all on the
I count
skateboard.
the times that I'm going to have. If I'm going to get on the ground, there's a reason for it. And when I get on that ground, there's going to be something there to get me back up off of it. I don't want to just like go on the ground for no reason at all.
It's weird. Like watch. I don't want to take up a bunch of time, but like, watch skateboard videos. Like look up people doing gaps and jumping down stairs. And those guys, they always show the slams. Like, and you'll see some ridiculous like, bam. I mean, they're going down 25 stairs, 15 feet in the air, and slamming on the pavement. Right, and that's fine when I was 15.
Right.
I don't even want to fall.
The 3 stairs.
I don't want to fall off of my skateboard. That's how scary it is. So I have to get over that. So like the last couple of weeks, it's just been like, okay.
I mean, you've got elbow
just
pads,
commit.
knee pads.
You know, I have a helmet, but you know, it's just been like, okay, you got to commit because you're never going to land a trick being scared about it. You got to commit to it.
Can't be timid.
Yeah. And so it's just a mental thing to get over, but I love it. It's a lot of fun. So
It's awesome.
yeah.
Speaking of love, let me tell you about somebody that I love. He's right here behind the camera. And
Hello.
He's spoken before I could introduce him, and you know that throws me off. And I forgot to turn off the air conditioners, which threw me off.
This whole somebody said they could hear us before we went live. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole day is just it's gonna be interesting.
But we're gonna level
We're
it on
cruising
out.
through.
But I'll tell you what, I'm excited
I'm
because
excited.
it's podcast day.
It's podcast day.
And I love podcast day. Let me tell you why else I'm excited. Aside from sitting next to the hottest woman in the world, who happens to be my wife, Pedro Ramirez is watching the podcast.
No
right
way.
now.
He's serious.
He's on
Pedro
Facebook.
Is on
Yeah.
Facebook watching the podcast.
That's fantastic.
What about it, Pedro?
Hey, Pedro.
I mean,
Hey,
that's my
Pedro.
guy. That's everybody's guy.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Pedro.
Everybody knows Pedro.
He
Just-
built this room.
He
Pedro
did.
built this single-handedly.
Yeah.
I tell you, he built it. We were gonna build it, and then I started kind of working with it. And he was like, "You know what? Let me handle it." And I told him, "I'll put all of the ceiling in place. I've been busy today. I'm sorry you've been stuck with all the work. By the time you get here tomorrow, I'll have the ceiling in place." So I hung up one piece of plywood and then dropped the next one and put a hole in the floor. And I said, "You know what? I'm just gonna let Pedro finish it." And so he did. So my contribution was that piece of plywood.
And some extra work where he had to patch the floor.
And some extra work really to pass the floor. Pedro's
awesome.
my guy. I don't know what to say.
What do we got?
We got something to read. You want to know what that is?
I know what it is.
Do you know what it is?
We've got a queue.
A 1-star review.
We've got some reviews. We've
Okay.
got 2 of them.
Some.
Because we've got some locked back in. We got
Yeah.
2 reviews. But anybody listening, we need reviews. We need the fact that we have reviews to read doesn't mean that we have reviews coming in.
He almost took Bill Shea's phone away from him last night to write a review.
And I was thinking about that today. I just forgot to finish that. So if you know someone that has a phone and you know how to leave a review, please leave a review on their phone.
But also go and download the podcast and listen to it because we're like approaching 100,000 downloads.
So there we go.
That's awesome.
It's fantastic.
I want to read 2.
You're gonna read 2 this week.
Yep. And the first one is titled The Best. 5-star review. How could it not be 5-star review if they title it The Best?
Right.
And it's from Cindy, a.k.a. the Vampire Squad, which is the group of runners that runs in the morning
With Mark
before
Fortune.
the sun comes up with Mark Fortune.
Yep, yep.
And those
Really?
people. Several months ago, April Hilson suggested that I give this podcast a listen, and I'm glad I did. I listen to it each week on my drive to and from work. I love the variety of topics and the camaraderie of the host. This podcast is inclusive of everyone, from the fitness professional to the person just starting to try and walk a little further each day. I love listening and laughing along. Keep up the great work. Cindy T. I've got another podcast. Did everything just shut down over there?
Nope.
All right.
We're still running live.
I almost gave it 4 stars, but I can't. And it's actually 5 stars.
Oh.
And it's by C Diddy 81. I've been binge listening for nearly a week and it has quickly become my favorite podcast. You seriously begin to feel like you're sitting amongst friends. I have laughed out loud in my car and shouted, "Oh my God, me too," at my phone. For me, I've enjoyed it because it brings together fitness-minded people and their stories. Whether they compete, own a fitness-related business, or maybe just an average person like me trying to be better. It's just real, honest talk that you'll hear. I've truly been inspired by what the host and athletes have accomplished, and it has pushed me to want to do more with my running. I can't wait for the new episodes. The only reason I would give it 4 stars is to make it more legit for Jacked and Tan. Gotta listen to get the reference. Thanks for putting this together every week. Kat Von D 81.
I like that.
I do too.
And what
That's
she
Catherine Davis.
Yeah, what she said about, hey, I listened to that and thought, oh my gosh, me too. That's what I love about podcasts. If I can listen to a podcast and go, oh man, me too, or just laugh, genuinely laugh, or cry, whatever, just feel some sort of emotion. That's what makes me love a podcast. You know what I mean? And you can also go on Twitter and interact with these people because most of them are on Twitter, and you'll see like conversations back and forth like, oh, I heard you talk about something such and such on last week's show, and they're like, oh, they'll write back or whatever. Wilson's at Lift Run Long on Twitter. He does a great job of going back and forth. Brian's Thirsty Runner, and I'm Von Rawls, and we're on there a lot on Twitter, pretty much. So if you're on Twitter, jump on there and talk about
Just tag hashtag LHRL or tag lift Run Long.
And I'll stay on social media all day. I'll get nothing. If you tag me, if you have something to talk about, podcast related or whatever on Twitter, get at me, dog. I'm always looking for a reason.
Doesn't even
not
have to be
do what I'm
podcast
supposed to be
related.
doing.
It could be
just whatever.
It doesn't.
Did y'all see where John Irvine, our podcast guest from Iron Tribe Fitness, snatched 300 pounds?
I saw you shared that with us.
You talked about it. I never saw it.
I never saw it
I
either.
don't think I saw it either.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it.
He talked about it, but I never saw it either.
Whoa.
That's a lot of things to snatch.
That's a lot of stuff to put over your head and get down like that.
That is impressive.
We got the Chris Hope Foundation 5K and 10K October 6th. You need to get on that, get registered. Valerie has put together a 5K and 10K program on the app that you will get for free if you sign up for the race. And we'll all start the fitness program at the same time. And we'll be in a group together so we can laugh and get on to people who aren't doing their training. And it is possible to falsify your training, so you don't have to really worry about not
Why would you tell people that?
what you're doing. Because I was just kind of thinking about I'm
not going to believe any of your posts unless I'm actually with you when you do the workout.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. What's new about that? Has something changed as far as our trust level?
I'm going to have to start counting all of his reps and everything like that at the gym.
It'll be clear. By the time we get to the race before Chris Hope's race, you'll know, hey, I don't think Wilson's been honest about how much running he's been doing.
So if you register for the Chris Hope race, you get into our app.
Yes.
Nice.
For free.
For free. It's just part of the deal. It's
Look at
part
that.
of the
We are
registration.
partnered with Chris Hope's race.
And you'll be in your own, everybody will be in their own Chris Hope community where we'll all be on the same training program that starts the same day.
That's awesome. When does that start?
The training program, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at my calendar. So it starts 6 weeks before.
6 weeks before the
6
race.
weeks before the race.
Before the
Okay.
race. And then we have the Big Hill Pond Walking Tall 25 and 50K. Going to be the biggest race in the history of the world.
It is.
It really is. It's shaping up to be that way. So if you're not registered, get registered for that. LHRL is going to have a huge following.
Guess what?
What?
I reached out to Brian Williams.
Get out of town.
Did you?
Let us know what he said.
We waited too long.
No.
No, actually, what he told me is he said you had already said hard no, and so he found somebody else, but he's not 100. He hasn't talked to them since they said, yeah, we'd like to. So he's going to follow up with them and get back to me. But
Fair enough. That's all I can ask. I can get off of that and get on to something else.
I just wanted to tell you that.
Great job. And he got Ultra
Like, holy cow.
to be a
How awesome is
sponsor.
that?
He had said Tailwind was going to.
You should help him out with that.
Yeah.
That's a dude that goes straight to the top. The winner gets a free pair of Ultras. The loser gets a free pair of Ultras.
Not loser, just last finisher.
The last finisher.
Wilson's eyeballing it.
I apologize for my verbiage. If I can even make it to that far, I think it would be an accomplishment. I'm
But of course,
more
it has
concerned
to be
about it
like
being effort.
legit. Yeah, you have to be a legit finisher.
You
so
got to
it's
make it
under-
within the
under
9-hour
time
cutoff
Yeah.
period.
So
Oh, so you can't be like super last at like 12 hours?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
it's
so
not
don't expect me to
Wilson
come home
running
with
So I
from
can't
the
just like
people
lay
that are
down and
trying-
hide in the leaves till it's like, okay.
When,
Have a shout
when
out.
Wilson leaves the last aid station, even though they tell him that he's supposed to get on the bus to go back to the start line, he's like, "I'm gonna go. Got my flashlight. It's all good."
Do you intentionally have that thing in your nostril? Thank you very much.
Thank you for noticing.
Have a shout out
Give me a shout out.
for Papa G.
Papa G.
Papa G.
Man, what a week that guy's had.
Yeah.
Probably the best week in history for a guy who has open heart surgery. I mean, what a showing of support for people that love him.
Yep.
Man,
It is. It's been impressive to see the amount of love that guy gets, and just how well he handled it going into the surgery, and how well he's responding after the fact and stuff like that. And it's awesome.
and it's got to be frustrating because Papa G is on his trajectory is so high as far as everything he's doing and getting his health together and getting so strong and improving at the gym that I know that's tough, but his attitude is one of those that like everybody wants to have. And you can tell by all the people that have showed up to support him. It's like Mardi Gras at his
Seriously.
hospital room.
It's funny. My favorite hashtag that I keep seeing used is Lindy keeps saying
Yes.
PR the bypass.
Yeah.
Because that's what because he asked before the bypass. He said, "How long's the recovery time usually going to take?" Because I'm about to PR this expletive. So he's got the right mindset.
We talked about Brenda's email, the LHRL experience.
Brenda's email.
Brenda's email.
So she unknowingly probably touched on a hot point for us.
Yeah.
Something we've dreamed about
It's something that I dream about, but I would never think about doing.
until an outside third party confirms it
Right.
unsolicited.
Correct.
And now all of a sudden
Validation.
it's a thing.
Yes.
Validation.
That we should have a retreat.
What is the conversation we have every year when we go to
do.
Sillamore?
We do.
Every year we go to Sillamore.
Hey,
we
I
talk
talk-
about
It's
the
not
fact-
an
about this
idea.
the
It's not
first-
an idea until I come up with
I
it.
probably talked about this the first week that I ever came over here and did a podcast with Wilson. He was like, "We're not never going to be able to."
It's a great idea.
It's a fantastic idea.
If we had scheduled events that you could do or not do, or you could just hang out and drink beer and, you could,
I
be
think-
like the Woodstock of fitness.
I think it would be a lot of fun, and it doesn't even
You
have
could
to
get
be
one of those big
it's-
bouncy blobs that people jump off one thing and then throw you up in the air. And
It's just a celebration of life in general. It doesn't even have to be about fitness specifically.
right.
We just like to get together and support each other in whatever we're doing.
you can go trail running
Bond
over
scale
here,
skateboarding.
or you can skateboard over here.
You can
or you
parachute
can
with firecrackers
come
coming
out of your butt.
which
Jump
is
out of a
which is
helicopter.
Wilson's dream. Brenda, just so you know, if this happens, the opening ceremony has to be Wilson jumping out of a helicopter,
Oh my God.
landing with from a parachute with firecrackers
I don't think
firing
you
out
can
of his.
parachute from a helicopter.
I
totally
can
can.
parachute from a
Can you?
helicopter.
You totally can.
How do you do that?
Ask Green Beret.
It's like a
It's totally a thing.
I have several of them. Yeah.
Is the parachute already open?
We're going to sit here and argue about
No,
whether or
no.
not
That's
No, it'd get
that's
caught in the
no.
blades.
It would get caught in the blades if it was already open.
What do you mean?
I'm not talking about like flying 100 feet off the ground. I'm talking a couple thousand feet up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
The Army Golden Knights jump out of helicopters
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there
when
you go.
they land in football stadiums. Golden Knights, is that right? Yeah.
Speaking of Green Beret,
Speaking of Green Beret, we have JB Meyer over here, who's kind enough to visit us.
Who's going to have to train Wilson how to do this?
who's agreed to tandem jump with me with firecrackers coming out of his butt at the first LHRL experience. How are you, John?
Good, good.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. This is pretty cool.
Where are you from? You're not from around here.
You're not from around here, boy.
After 20 years of military, you don't know where you're from
Yeah.
anymore,
Uh-huh.
But actually born in Denver.
Okay.
Grew up in Nevada mostly.
Uh-huh.
My parents worked a Nevada test site out there, Area 51 to be specific.
Oh, did they
Oh,
really?
really?
What? Oh my
That's
gosh.
awesome.
So I went to a small town.
That's why he's superhuman.
Tonopah High School, up in the middle of the mountains, up near Area 51 out there, and nothing to do out there at all. So 18, I joined the Army. I got out
Uh-huh.
of there. Yeah. So had a good career after 20 years of that. So I moved.
Was
out.
your path from a young age to be, I'm going to be a Green Beret?
No, I knew when I joined I actually joined the Army as a mechanic. I wanted to have a job skill that would give me a job, on the outside. Once I planned just to join for 4 years, get some college money, and before I knew it, I had 8 years, and then I was stationed over in Germany. And I've always, during my first 8 years, I was very competitive. In Germany, I was on a 10K team, and we took all of U.S. Army Europe. We took first place in a 10K team. We ran. They had what they call a 100 and a 200 mile club. We ran 100 miles, and you could run you had to do it in 5 days. And you could run 10 miles or you could run 40 miles. How long you wanted to run, it was on your own. And then we did the 200-mile club as well. Yeah, that took. Remember, we did it in 8 days. The 200 miles we ran. So I was always physically fit. Always did that. And I wasn't a infantry combat arms soldier. I was a mechanic. So as far as the Special Forces or Army Ranger, those are combat arms. Those are most infantry and Rangers know about Special Forces because that's what they want to do in their career later on. And so I didn't know anything about it at all. But there's recruiters in the Army that go around looking for soldiers that are physically fit. They recruit out there and stuff. And I was approached by one recruiter, and he says, "Hey, do you want to try out to be a Green Beret?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I guess I'll do that." So they put you through a training program prior. You train yourself basically. And me not being a combat arms guy, I didn't know anything how to take care of your feet. How to wear your boots properly, or what kind of socks, what to do with hot spots and blisters, and I didn't know anything of that. Have a ruck on your back, more than 75 pounds and all that, and carrying heavy weight. So it took about 2-3 months of training to get ready for it, and then you go to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, for the selection process. Selection is 4 weeks, and usually 300.
Is that like a Hell Week kind of thing?
It's about 300 start. It's and less than 100 finish. I mean, it's usually and you compare yourself to everyone that goes there, and obviously they're not a big guy. 140 pounds back then maybe, and you see these big guys showing up, and these Army Rangers, these combat arms guys, and it's intimidating, really is, and through time, those are the first guys to go home. You start. You wake up. You get 4 hours sleep a night. You wake up and there's four more beds empty.
Really?
They go home.
Yeah.
They can't take it. And it's very, very grueling. I mean, it's very long distance. I mean, it's. I'm not going to talk a lot about it. But it's extreme long distance walking, running, and several other many things, navigation, things like that. And then once you get selected, if you make it, you get to go to what they call the Q course, and you get selected to become an engineer, like I was. You got a medical field, you have a weapons field, and then a communications. There's 4 skills that you can get, and I became an engineer, and most of the specialty I had was explosives.
I was going to say, you got to blow stuff up.
Yeah, you got to
Man.
blow stuff
Awesome.
up. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so cool.
Well, Brett
So-
Yoakum is the
Yeah.
one who put us in contact. We know each
Okay.
other from the
Right,
Full
right.
Motion race
Yeah,
team.
he's
Obviously.
been one of my students in the past. Yeah,
and he
for
speaks
years.
extremely highly of you.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
said, JB's got the most he's the most interesting person that you'll ever meet. And then I see your stuff, and I'm listening to you talk, and you really have a fascinating life.
Yes, I spent what we call there's 5 major groups in the United States of special forces guys, and I was in the 7th group, which is every group has an area of the world they're responsible for, and ours was Central and South America. So I speak fluent Spanish. They do send you to school to learn the language of what group you go to. So I speak. Of course, you go to school and go on deployments, and you learn the language and you do all that. But you guys know my wife; she's from the country of Panama, so we speak mostly Spanish in the house, which is good. It's good practice for me.
Yeah.
And now being a police officer, it's really good for the street as well. You know, how many people speak Spanish in the United States now? You know, so I think it's a language that is awesome to have. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So I was in the 7th group. Did all my time in Central and South America for 12 years until I retired. And so what brought me out here in this area was there's a school out here that teaches the explosives, how SWAT team members, military teams, all that stuff. And that's why I came here to work for that school. And then a couple years later, I became part owner of it and became the director of training. And I built ranges. I grew the company and all that, and
Now, are we talking about the same?
That's incredible.
Is that the same place that those?
We have a lot of guys that drop in from
Yes.
some kind of an explosives training
that's
place
it.
here in
Where
town.
is
That's
it?
or in
it.
the
It's
area.
called
kidding
Teams.
me.
I was part owner of that, right?
Some
Really?
big old fit guys come in
Yeah,
there.
These are not people that need the remedial CrossFit course. I mean, these dudes come
Yeah.
in here and it's
Okay.
like
Yeah.
the record scratches and everything stops.
Yeah, usually the SWAT team, wherever they're from, they come from all over the United States, all over the world, really, and they're always looking for a gym to come to locally and all that. So you guys are getting those guys come in, and they're the top of the guys. Generally you're going to get, so. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
so that's what brought me here, and I've been here 13 years now.
Are you still
Yeah.
associated with that training
I
camp?
do some training still. I got out of it. My health, a lot of for health reasons as well. It just the breathing that stuff all the time to
Yeah.
the explosions to everything. So I went to. I was always a reserve deputy on a SWAT team, working with them and training and doing all that. But 4 or 5 years ago now, it's been since I decided to go full-time deputy. I just wanted something different. I'm always wanting to do something different.
So
it's how I am.
was it your job to blow things up, or is
Yeah.
it your job to stop things from blowing up, or both?
A bomb tech, I was not a bomb tech. I was not able to, I wasn't trained to clear the bombs like a bomb tech is. They have special equipment, all that good, stuff like that. So no, we were my job was to build the bombs, and do the specialty type breaching and all that, and a lot of other explosives too. Conventional type work with explosives and bridges and things like that. Learning how to basically what an Army engineer does. That's
Well,
what they
that
do.
puts a whole new
Yeah.
spin on the question that you asked me when you walked in the door and said, "What's all that fertilizer out there for?"
Yeah.
And I did think, I thought he's a police officer. He's probably, he does
Profiling
have
you.
a legitimate concern over what. And now I found out you're in explosives.
I'm starting to read the nitrogen level on it, going, okay.
So, at what point did you crawl into the triathlons?
A friend of mine, 6 years now, it's been a Greer Wheeler, and just said, hey, you want to start racing triathlons. And I've always raced, I'm always running, and I did some biathlons many years ago, and just started getting into them. And before I knew it, I'm hooked. And it's something that I really love to do. Yeah.
You like the distance, the endurance races more than anything else? You said that you're an Ironman, correct?
The Ironman last year was a lot of fun. It was an experience of a lifetime, no doubt. I think what I look back on is the training. Something we talked about prior was the training for that is just that's what you're doing. It's your life is nothing but go to work and go home and go train. Get up in the morning, train, go to work, and come home and
go to
train.
bed at 8 p.m. so you can get up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's a
to
lot
do
of
multi-sport training.
Is it that committed?
It's very and I did pretty well. I did it in a little over 13 hours. I wanted to do it in 12.
Break that down for me. What does that equate
it's
to?
2.4 mile swim.
Okay.
And the swim's good. That was in Chattanooga is where I did it.
Woohoo!
She's from Chattanooga.
And down river, downstream, which is not moving real fast, but it helped a little bit.
Still helps a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And I did that in a little under an hour, 2.4 mile swim, and that's nonstop for an hour. Freestyle swimming.
I can't imagine.
Let me go ahead and put that in perspective
Yeah.
for you guys. When I did my half Ironman, it took me an hour and 25 minutes to swim half that distance.
Really?
So, yeah,
Right, so,
I'm a
yeah,
terrible swimmer.
Yeah,
so
then getting on that bike, you ride out of Chattanooga down into the mountains, down south into Georgia, and you do two.
Chattanooga has a hill or two.
Chattanooga's a normal Ironman is 112 miles. This is 116. For some reason, of the loop that you have to do, it adds miles to it, so it's 116 miles.
it's the only Ironman in the world that's longer than 140.6.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so you have to do that 4 extra miles, which that's pretty significant,
Sure, yeah.
The hills. What I think the killer thing about the full down there is, you do one loop around, and you got to do it again. So you know the route, and you know how bad it is.
Uh-huh.
The hills, yeah, it's bad. There's one hill at the very down back part of where you come around that you almost have to get off the bike to walk. It's so steep going up it. I mean, you're in the lowest gear possible, and you're just barely creeping up there.
Wow.
It's brutal. And then you get to downtown Chattanooga at the transition, and that 26.2 mile. 2 loops around Chattanooga starts. That's once again, it's 2. You do the first 13. You do about 4 down in the valley, and then the rest of it is on the on the east side, where into the real nice areas of Chattanooga, and it's nothing but hills. It's just brutal. You come around 13.1, and then you got to start all over again and run 26.2. So the run. I think the worst part about the run is. Even the race being that late in the year, it was still hot. It wasn't, and it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The fire department out there is pouring ice water on people because they were overheating too bad. There was several hundreds of them didn't even finish the race because of heat and all that. It was just so hot.
How many people run an Ironman?
I think there was over 3,000 there. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, when you said several hundred of them that
Yeah,
finished.
there was. I think over 700 didn't even finish. I think I have to look at the numbers.
Yeah,
but,
it's huge. They always,
yeah.
announce it to make sure everybody kind of stays out of downtown area to, because it's all closed off and tons of people.
Most of us are trail runners, and our average size race is 200 or 300 people at the total for the race.
Oh, well,
So-
That's huge. Yeah,
That's how
300.
right. Most of the tries around here are all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that. Yeah.
What kind of miles per hour do you average on the bike?
I did that one 18.6.
That's fast.
Yeah.
I bought me that Speed Concept, Trek Speed Concept last year. So that bike helps a lot.
Sure.
I mean, it weighs 17 pounds. I mean, it's I wanted a nice bike to do the race, and that was my 50-year-old.
Yeah, you can bet if my fat ass is going to be going 116 miles on a bike, it's going to be a good one.
Well, and at the level that he's competing at, every ounce counts. So
Actually, those lighter bikes, I don't know if they could handle your Clydesdale
It can't
stature.
handle me.
Ouch.
No, I'm just saying. No, I dated a guy that did triathlons. He was 6'7", and he couldn't have a full carbon frame bike because it would bend with his weight.
With my biceps.
Yeah,
You think that
with
the
your guns.
Force of
You
me
have so
pulling-
much muscle mass.
That's what it is.
Can't.
You
think
got to
that's
be
what
more
she was trying to
delicate
say.
with the way that you put
I said
things.
Clydesdale.
My strength. My
Get on the
trust.
bike, it just crushes like a tin can.
Yeah. If I got frustrated at all, if the race
You could
didn't
just
go my
wad
way,
the bike up and just throw it into the river.
Scott Hollis could not do one of those if he had a light bike because he would sling it off in the river.
I hit a pothole near state line up there, because of the time I ride is at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and it's still dark. I get home, it's still dark, and I hit a pothole and ruined my front rim. It broke the rim, carbon fiber.
Oh,
Did you
no.
fall off the
over
bike?
$600. No, I didn't wreck.
Just for the wheel.
Just for the wheel and all that was $600 just for the wheel.
Oh wow.
To
Yeah,
replace it. So
oh my gosh.
I wrote there's a website you can go to, Memphis potholes. If you Google Memphis potholes, and so
You can report it.
I filled out the paperwork, and they denied it. They're like, not enough evidence or something. They denied my claim. I'm like, I was riding my bicycle, I hit a pothole. When you're going 18 miles an hour, you can't, and it's dark. Your flashlight only goes out 10, 15 feet, and I wasn't able to turn away from the darn pothole. And the funny thing is after I did the claim, like within a few days, about a week later, the pothole's filled. So they knew the pothole was there. They knew it was there.
They probably filled it off of your claim.
They probably
That's what I'm
did.
thinking.
They're like, man, they've already reported this 3 times. We need to get this filled.
That name probably came across somebody's desk, and they were like, "You realize that guy's a Green Beret? Like, we're gonna have somebody down here whipping our ass if we don't get some black asphalt dumped in a hole pretty quick."
Everybody I work with now, they all talk about that. One of the guys at work today was saying we went to a competition last week for our motorcycles, and his wife was made a comment. Are you always smiling? John's always smiling and all that. And I said, yeah. They say when John's not smiling is when you better watch out. I'm usually smiling though.
Well, I hope so. We need to keep that smiling for at least the next 30 minutes.
There you go.
How'd you do on the run? What kind of I don't even know. What do
that's
people
where I lost
run?
it.
What's a good marathon time in an Ironman?
I believe mine was 5 hour 10 minutes. I want to do it 4. My training up to that point was 4 hour marathon, which I thought after 116 on the bike was pretty good. But the heat got me. I cramped bad. I walked and walk run. It was at one point I was walk a minute, run a minute, walk a minute, run a minute. Is all I could just get enough just to get by. So I lost a good hour of what I wanted to on the run just because of the heat. Was horrible.
What's your nutrition like during something?
Oh, that's another thing. I had a nutrition plan, and I followed that plan on the bike. When you're on the bike, you get on the halfway point. You have a bag that you pack up before. And you did a half. You said, did they do that same thing? They call it a it's a point at where you
Drop bag.
A drop bag, right? You can, and then you can put whatever you want in that bag. You can put nutrition in there, dry socks, anything you want. And so in my bag, I have my nutrition plan. I followed that plan. It was some peanut butter, a little bit of stuff in there, some banana, and but when on the run is where my nutrition plan was out. The bag I picked up at the halfway point at 13.1 miles, I couldn't even eat anything. I was just so, believe it or not, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but one of the things that was at the water points, every mile had a water point. They were serving Coca-Cola, Coke.
I was actually going to say, so
Yeah.
I didn't have as good a nutrition plan as you did, having all the stuff lined out. We did. I did mine down in Austin.
Yeah, that one down at the half.
The half down in Austin, and I knew it was. I just remember it was Texas. Anyways, we were just doing loops. We did like 4 loops for the
I did a half
13.1
Ironman
miles,
somewhere.
and so we didn't have a drop bag like you're talking about. But
Okay.
I had like goos with me and some other stuff, but it was kind of out the window.
No tailwind, huh?
And no tailwind.
Too bad.
But going through the aid stations, flat Coke and pretzels.
Yeah,
Like
pretzels.
every single aid station, I was grabbing a handful of a little Dixie cup full of pretzels, and they had flat Coke put out.
2 things I can always eat during a long run is pretzels and Mountain Dew.
and tailwind.
And tailwind obviously, but when you go to the aid station,
Right.
like I can always drink a Mountain Dew.
I can
Mountain Dew
always
is always
eat
good.
and drink
Ooh,
everything.
Mountain Dew, yuck.
It's
No.
the moving on past the aid stations where things get tricky. But everything at the aid station is easily consumable.
Yeah, the Coke settles your stomach, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That was so shocking. After I drank some Coke, and I don't drink soda. Everyone knows, my kids, everyone knows I don't drink soda, and I'm drinking Coke, and it's not even Diet Coke,
During a race, all bets are off.
Yeah.
All bets are off.
Now, do they intentionally serve flat Coke?
I think the carbonation messes with your
stomach. Yeah.
As far as
Like jumping,
when you're
running, and
running and stuff
bouncing.
like that, and it would make it worse. So I think it is intentional. I mean, it
never
could be that I'm just so slow that it's been
By the
sitting
time
out
it
there
gets
so long that it's just flat by the
I think
time I
that's
get
probably
to
what
it.
probably what
But
I
I'm
always
assuming
thought, yeah.
I'm pretending like that it's just a thing, and they do it on
Well, I've
purpose.
always had flat
If it
Coke.
sits out
too.
overnight, then
It's already been sitting out there in the little Dixie cup for 5 hours.
Exactly.
that could be it. Well, I think I heard it mentioned just this week for the first time. Somebody said,
Most of the
Drink some flat
trail
Coke.
races
Sycamore.
have flat
Yeah.
Coke.
well, it's all been flat when I've drank it, but I didn't know if it was intentionally flat.
I believe it to be.
I never noticed it being flat. I guess that's how. I don't know.
because you're fast.
I got a quick story on that. We did a turkey trot 4-miler a couple years ago, and that's on Thanksgiving Day. If you've ever run it before,
Mm-hmm.
if you got okay, and the 3-mile point back around the backside of the park back there, they're serving beer. All right, and I knew it when I went by. Now my wife does not drink and never has ever. She don't drink. And I was out there with my nephew. We finished before her, and we were waiting at the finish line, and she's not showing up. And I'm like, I know this is just a 4-miler. I know where her time is, but I don't see her. Oh, here she comes, and she's white as a goat. She's red. She's just like, she looks sick, and she thought it was Gatorade when she went by, and she chugged that beer.
Oh, no.
And she about died. I mean, it was absolute. She looked horrible.
Oh.
She was crying. She couldn't believe she drank beer. I mean, oh yeah, it was bad.
I hate that for her.
And how can they drink? How can they even serve it out there? That's kind of
Yeah.
weird, how they, because I think they do it in St. Jude too, right?
They
If
do.
I'm-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get
Well,
Jaeger. You can get shots of Jaeger.
It's rogue aid stations for St. Jude though. It's not official
Right,
aid
yeah.
stations,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's people out there
People
that
doing it. Yeah.
They got the mimosas there and everything.
I think it was last week I was talking about the fact that Little Rock Marathon, the first half of it runs through like an old warehouse district, and that's where all the craft breweries are. And they set up rogue aid stations. Like every craft brewery is handing out like little Dixie cups of beer, and I'm like, man, this is gonna be the best race ever.
There's a hash runners aid station at Ouachita that has coolers full of beer and Red Bull. And I always say I'm going to get it. This year I was going to actually get one, but I didn't make it that far. So they were gone by the time I got there.
I was gonna say the only hash aid station I've seen in Memphis is at Germantown Half.
What is a hash?
Hash House Harriers. They're just like a running idiots that they go out into the woods, and basically one person's a rabbit and they go off and everybody else is chasing them. But it's not like hey, we're going to go do a 10-mile run at Stinky Creek. We're meeting at the Stinky Creek parking lot, and wherever the rabbit wants to go, it could be down the road, it could be into the woods. It doesn't have to be a known path.
But they also
they
stop
could
at places
end up
and get
in
beers and stuff.
Well, sometimes
like
they have known points that like we're going to go from here to here, but the object is to chase the rabbit every time. And like sometimes they'll end up down in like storm drains, running along like storm drains for half a mile or 2 miles, and like climbing up out of those. And
Interesting. Are
like
they a
they just-
nationwide group or just a local
yeah,
group?
there's chapters all over the U.S.
Ha.
So, anyways, Germantown Half Marathon. The turnaround point is in Houston High School's
Houston High
park
School,
lot,
yep.
and
They always set up in the back.
they're always set up on the back side, right before you get back out onto Wolf River Boulevard, and that's the Hash House Harriers.
When I
do
passed it, I'm like, how are they allowed to do this at the school? It's kind of like, this isn't
I don't think
school
people know that
property.
they're there.
Well,
Gotcha.
We ran on my birthday. I always run on our birthdays, and so we ran 4.3 for his birthday this year, and then 4.3 for mine. And the day we ran on my birthday, we had an event at work. We went to Redbirds game where there's free beer. So I told him, I said, hey, we can run tonight, but I'm going to be a few beers in by the time I get there because we have this thing at work. And so it works. I made it.
Yeah, I mean it's I've never tried having like a couple of full beers before a run, but having a beer before a run, it definitely, just chills you out a little bit, makes that first mile suck less.
When we ran 40 miles on our 40th birthday, I was praising God that Brian had beer the last 5 miles.
Well, yeah, because the last 10 miles, I was so destroyed that beer was the only thing that helped me bounce back.
He was in such a terrible, terrible mood. And then
it was bad.
He just finally got a beer, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
Because what idiot runs 40 miles in the middle of June? I mean,
this obviously was your thing. I mean, you had something to do with this, correct?
I didn't say I wasn't the idiot. I mean, it was definitely my idea.
You told me that he was grumpy pants before.
Well, man, it was not fun.
I was struggling that day.
Seeing Brian mad is funny.
They were trying to get me left-handed cigarettes and all sorts of stuff to take my mind off of the fact that running was sucking so bad.
Well, last time I saw him mad, he was doing good at what he was doing, so I would imagine he was probably doing okay at the running. But
that was pretty funny.
So the Ironman, was that something that was that to you one of your biggest accomplishments, or was it just something that you wanted to get out of the way?
For my 50-year-old, that's when last year I turned 50, so that was my accomplishment for being 50.
Okay.
So I think the big thing for me is being what I did in the military for 20 years, jumping out of planes, helicopters. I mean, I did all that. Fast roping. I mean, and very extreme.
What is fast roping?
You ever see Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
Right, where they slide down the rope. It's a real big green rope, about that big, and you're not hooked to it. You put your hands around it, you put your feet around it, and you slide down the rope. And it's probably the most unsafe act that the Army does, honestly.
Yeah.
Because you're nothing. You and the rope. That's it.
Because the top end of that rope is attached to a helicopter or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
It's the drop you, if you want to land in your parking lot right here, they just hover above the trees, drop a rope, and you slide down the rope. And it's usually 50, 60, 80 foot.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually pretty high. And
there are so many reasons why I'm not a Green Beret.
And so,
let's pretend the rope drop is the biggest one.
I was going to do that.
If it wasn't for the rope drop, speed roping. That's what kept me
if
out.
it wasn't for speed roping.
I was going to be a Navy SEAL if it wasn't for the water.
It's just so unsafe.
To be able to, at 51 now, to do what I'm doing physically after what I've put my body through is, to me, is amazing for myself, because I'm surprised. I mean, I do creak and and move a lot slower, like you said, trying to grab your skateboard or whatnot. But I still do it, at 51 years old. And
what do you attribute that to?
I don't.
Do you strength train? Is it the running?
All of it, really. Yeah. Stay fit. I eat right, no doubt. And of course hydrate. I'm everything on that is something. And not many 50-year-olds. There are a lot of guys my age that are doing what I'm doing, sure, but have they put their body through the years of tremendous physical hardship? I mean, I've been through. Now I have not gone unscathed through the years. As far as knees, I have completely. I mean, over 100 jumps out of. Now our jumps out of an airplane are not the square parachute, pull the toggles and land on your feet, and these are round parachutes.
No control of where you're going.
No control whatsoever. I mean, my wife, through the years, I've landed in trees, I've broke ribs, but I've never hurt my knees. That's one good thing, But I have broke other things in my body. To get a phone call saying, "Hey, I'm in the hospital," or "I'm going to the hospital," it was a common thing for my wife. It really was.
How long have y'all been together?
20 years now. Yeah, 20 years. So she spent a lot of my time with me when I was still as a Green Beret. So there was a time I pulled an igniter to detonate a bomb, which was supposed to be a time for it to go off, a 6-second delay, and it went off instantaneous, and it knocked me into the middle of the room. I was out, and of course wake up in the hospital, and my wife getting a phone call going, "Hey, your
Oh,
husband just
man.
got blown up,"
Oh, my.
I've had pieces of debris. I got a picture of me with a stick sticking out of my face about this far here.
Wow.
It went about 2 inches. At the hospital.
From something blowing up?
Yeah, just a piece of debris off the charge. The doctors come in and take pictures, and look at this idiot.
What's the scenario where you're doing something like that in? Like, is this just practice, or like you and
Yeah, the training.
yeah.
Just,
I'm assuming if his wife was hearing about it that quickly, it wasn't an
Yeah.
actual operation.
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah,
training
well, there's been
exercise.
those too. She's gotten phone calls, which I'm not going to talk about, but there's been some things that we were involved in that she got a phone call saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, they've been involved in something, and there might be some guys, that everybody's okay."
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but we've had guys get shot and all that,
There's two reasons I'm not a Green Beret. Reason number two.
that's out of training. That's not, but
She's so unsafe.
you train. You train for those scenarios, for those things that happen. And if you're trained well enough, I mean, when those things happen, you just automatically go into action, and it happens,
Muscle memory kicks in.
Yeah, muscle memory, definitely.
Do you keep that with you 24/7? I mean, when you're walking around, are you conscious of everything around you and conscious of
I think
what
so.
you have that everybody else doesn't possess?
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
your
so.
awareness and Vaughn and I have talked about it with his friend Rob, who's Rob's a ranger. Rob
Yeah, he's
Connor.
an Army Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had talked about situational awareness and
Absolutely. Being a police officer, I mean, I have to.
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
I've told Amanda before, anytime something happens, I am not helpful at all. That's in any situation, really.
Right.
But if something were to go down, then, what'd the guy look like? How tall was he? What kind of car was he driving? I would just be the guy that's like,
Rob is always, he always says stuff like, "You should just let me punch you in the face, so you know what it's like getting punched in the face." Because-
so you'll be prepared.
so you'll be prepared when that happens.
I don't wanna be
or like,
prepared.
or like,
I've heard that before.
like,
Right, yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
if you take me and you in the room and someone walks up and starts to rob us, I'm just like, "Hey man, here's my wallet," and you've already shot the guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, "Oh, it's okay. I'm not a threat. Don't." And you've already taken the guy down on the floor. Like, there's a crazy difference between just a regular person and people that have been in those situations.
Which is what this is primarily, is like a friend interview. I'm trying to get friends that will be better here to protect me, and Vaughn's not one of those.
I'm not.
So
I'm not.
I'm trying to lose him and bring you into my life too, so that I will be the little tiny egg that's protected and taken care of. So what kind of goals do you have going forward, race-wise? Or any wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I became a USA Triathlon Coach. That was a goal of mine.
Uh-huh.
So I did that in March and did the test, did everything, went to the course up in Chattanooga. Again, they had a couple-day course out there. And so I became an official coach.
That's impressive.
And,
That is awesome.
Which is, I think it's a good asset to have, and hopefully, I can drum up a little business there as well. And then I wanted to do a race team, and so I started I wanted. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I've been
Yeah.
meaning to talk
Yeah.
about that, and I keep going around it.
I wanted. Police officers and military guys tend to have a certain lingo, a certain communication that we all just have. It just happens. We all have, if I say an acronym or something, a civilian wouldn't know what I'm talking about. I'd say a language of our own, kind of, in a way. And so I wanted to start a team where law enforcement, military, first responders, sort of like that right there. Just what I've always dreamed of.
A race team.
A race team, right.
Mm-hmm.
A race team or club, whatever you want to call it. So I licensed it and insured it. It is licensed and insured through USA Triathlon. It's not just something I just started and didn't do the proper paperwork and all that. It's a nonprofit organization. I have a bank account for everything with it and all that. So it's only been up and running about a month or so.
What's it called?
And Blue, which is the thin blue line, or blue for police. So I called it Blue with the number 2. Blue. So me being police training another officers and all that.
Nice.
So
That's
Blue
cool.
to Blue is how I came up with the name.
And you're recruiting first responders to be on your race team.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
is it strictly triathlons?
Not at all. No, that's what I'm trying to get everyone to understand is I think they're scared of the triathlon.
Uh-huh.
It is sanctioned, or I say sanctioned, but it is set up through USA Triathlon, as so is Journeyman. He's set up through. You guys know Journeyman, and are you guys still Journeyman, or we're?
No, we're on
No.
North Mississippi
Yeah.
Endurance,
Okay.
which
All right,
was
all right.
Which was
a lot
through
of the
full
people
motion. Yeah.
that were
Right.
from
Okay.
Full
That's
Motion.
right. Yeah. So, I think everyone's scared of that triathlon. Oh my gosh, I got to do a triathlon to be on the team. I said no, 5Ks, 10Ks. It's the racing series. At the half. I know a lot of guys in the department will end up running St. Jude half and all that. By the end of the year and all that. So I got T-shirts made up. Which I'm still kind of waiting on. They're in the work still. Like I said, this is still new. I mean, I'm still in the startup process of it.
How many people would you imagine would just be intimidated by the whole team aspect? I mean, obviously you're an elite participant, and you and I know each other from Full Motion.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I know when I was asked to be on Full Motion, I thought I don't belong here. Like I don't need to be on a race team. Come to find out that it was just a bunch of people that were just going to hang out and have a good time. Is that the same? Are you going to be a competitive team?
Oh no, not at all. That's what I want. I love that where we all just get together. I have some guys that are involved or getting involved as we're starting to get going that are over 200 pounds and they're not avid runners and all that, and so I was like, hey, let's set a goal. Let's do some 5Ks and whatnot, and let's just get out there as a team and have fun.
Cool.
That's just what I just want. And wear the blue to blue shirt, with a thin blue line on it, and police officers out there running, and of course we talking to Amanda. I was hoping that she would do her racing series and try to get her to get the because some of her profits, or where she was with the what do you call it? Her who she was giving the money to. One of them was to help firefighters. I think one of them. If you look through the years of what she was, the money was going for fundraising for what she was doing was great causes. So I'm trying to get her to get the series up this year again.
Well, not only finding first responders who already run, but wouldn't it be great if you could motivate some people who just want to be part of a team and get them out running?
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
would be fun.
Yep. I even said trail running's awesome. I mean, I love, you said something about trail running earlier. I'll be out Sunday morning. I mean, whether I'm, Wolf River, wherever, and it's 6, 8 miles, whatever. To me, getting out on the trails, it's 10-minute miles. Sometimes if we go to, the Red Loop over there, I mean, it could be, the Red Loop at Shelby Forest over there. Those are 12 to 14 minutes.
Keep going.
Wow.
That's fast.
Because of the hills, But that to me is just freedom out there. Running the trails like that, and that's what I want the other guys to realize. Hey, come with me. We're just gonna go. My wife's with me. We're not gonna row, 6-minute mile. And,
All applicants welcome.
Absolutely.
Well, I
awesome.
hope that works well.
So it's not only for police, but firefighters and any first responders that are out there.
Anybody like that, and that sort of deal.
That field, okay.
Yeah, that field. Yeah.
So Brett Yoakum should be on a team right now.
There you go. Yep.
So he'll be the first we put the squeeze on. Congratulations, Brett. You are the first member
That's right.
of the Blue to Blue race team.
All you got to do is pay your dues.
Inaugural member.
He's
That's right.
watching, so
You get so for what I've added for it, it is $50, but it's going to go towards they're going to get a T-shirt to include their wife. going to get it. She joins the team to run or not, but I believe in the wife having one on while you're watching, support crew kind of thing. So that's included, and any other money that's left at the end of the year, we're gonna have just to get together. We're gonna do it at someone's house and say, hey, let's buy the beer, let's buy whatever's left over. It wasn't to make money. That's why I'm doing it at all. It's a nonprofit. I just want to share the feeling of getting out there and just having fun.
I love it.
I have a banner made up now with a small, I can do a booth at races, and I do have some sponsors. I say sponsors, but they're local businesses that have gave me their name to be able to put on my shirts and all that and all that. So I think that's a pretty big deal too. They've offered discounts for police officers, which most of them already do that anyway. So
if we can ever be of any assistance in spreading a word or helping you recruit, be happy to do that.
Oh yeah.
Dawn said she runs a 12 to 14 hour red loop.
12 to 14
hours.
12 to 14 hour. Red loop.
Okay.
I'm right there with her. I'm nipping at her heels.
Yeah. That's if you can make it through all the roots and all the rocks and all that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we've run it together, haven't we, before? A long time ago. Yeah.
We are out of time. Our hour is up. Lift Heavy Run Long number 104 is in the books.
Wow.
Is that 104th one?
Yeah.
Episode?
Okay.
You got to go back and watch all. You got 103 hours that you got to catch up on.
Yeah, thanks for
No
coming
lie,
out, man.